Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending this webinar. My name is Lyndon Jones, and this is my audience, Rasan and Devon. Uh-oh. Well, great. Awesome. So, for this speech, my persuasive speech, I would like to talk about why your vote counts. I must first start off by stating I can agree with the mindset of a person who may feel like their vote won't mean anything in an election just because there's millions of other people voting elsewhere. But my question to you is this mindset gaining popularity among voters nationwide? The answer to that question is yes. As we all know, America is a free country and voting is an important part of that freedom. While some races have been privileged to vote for many generations, while others fought for their right to vote, America is currently a nation where about a third of its eligible citizens do not even bother to register to vote. So in layman's terms, that means that 100,600,300 people out of 318 million people do not vote. And of those who are registered, less than half may vote in any given election. And even so, Black Americans are at the low end of these disappointing statistics. One common excuse I would like to talk about that people use is that they say that they're too busy. Or they say I have to go out of town, or they forget, or they simply just don't know who to vote for. But if the truth be told, we all live hectic lives. And we all have hectic schedules and things that we could certainly find ourselves doing besides voting. But in the words of a wise man, people make time for what's most important to them. Another reason why people don't vote is because they feel like their vote doesn't count. Let's face it, there are millions of people in the world, and one might ask if their vote would even matter. I've come to assure you that it does. The population of New Jersey is 9 million. Let's think about that. But according to statistics, it suggests that only 5 million people vote, which leaves an outstanding figure of 3 million people that do not vote. Now, do you see the significance? But I must say this. I do sympathize with people being weary of voting because of what they've seen on TV about crooked politicians or scandalous affairs that most politicians even get caught up in. But that must not deter us from exercising our God-given right to vote. Before I close, I would also like to leave you with some helpful hints on voting, just in case you're one of those who use the excuse of why you can't vote. Did you know that in 1990, the U.S. government officially started allowing people to cast their vote through the internet? Meaning you can vote electronically. Or did you know that you can mail in your vote so that your ballot can count? According to a recent poll, 60% of all ballots cast in the November 4th, 2014 were votes by mail ballots. And last but not least, if you're an owner of a cell phone, you definitely don't have an excuse since voting can also be done via phone. So in closing, in the words of Secretary Bowen of California, every election is important, no matter what or who is on the ballot. A lot of times we find ourselves complaining about the condition of our nation, but unfortunately, we do not possess the credentials or the degrees to campaign against the injustices of our land. We often hear people complain about gun laws, but that can change with your vote. We often hear people complain about police brutality, but that can change with your vote. You may not be the most eloquent speaker. You may not be the most profound speaker. But just know that your vote is your voice. And if you don't use your vote, your voice will go unheard.